Okay, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to my channel. It's been a hot minute. It's September 2nd currently. It's been crazy, and I know it's not an excuse, and I should have been posting these videos months ago, but there is a lot of stuff that's been happening, and it needs to be its own separate video, and a lot of that I'm not able to get into yet, but there's a lot of content coming, like I've been saying. So I really just need to get through this BMT stuff and just go through my notes, even though at this point it's been, like 6 months since I've graduated. So I don't know how much of this I still have like vivid memories of, but I still do have all my notes that I took while I was in basic training. So I'm gonna go through those real quick and just bust out weeks 5, the rest of week 4, and then weeks 5, 6, and 7-ish of training. And my daughter's calling me, so I'll be right back. Okay, so like I was saying, I need to get this video out real quick because there's a lot going on. So I'm currently, just as a little thing, I'm in South Carolina right now. My sister just got married today, so I am away. Naomi is back in Pennsylvania with her dad. So it's like 7 o'clock here right now, so she just called me to say goodnight. Oh, and her birthday is really soon, so hopefully I should have a video on that, but I'm not sure if I'm gonna do that or not. But she's gonna be 2, and yeah, super exciting. But anyways, back to the video. So weeks 4, I already went through all of that stuff, and then my last video that I posted was about all the medical issues that I had while in BMT, and now we're at the end of week 4. So, February 11th is when it started getting cold. So it was getting cold, it was freezing, there was a bunch of lightning, and it was just pouring. So like, we didn't have PT that day, and they were just like, in the mornings that we would be in our fleeces with our fleece caps because it was just so cold out, and then we had to wear our gloves. It was a whole thing. So on the 11th is the day that they put me on my crutches for my knee. We had an Rla Inspection, which is the recruit living area inspection. I had that done by my one sergeant, and I passed that one. And then we also, while I was on EC shift with my best friend Rla, we had a captain come in to our dorm to talk to everyone. So her and I were stuck on EC while captain talked to everyone, which was kind of sucked. But we did the procedures to call the dorm to attention as soon as he came in and all that stuff. So we did great there, which was very exciting because the last time that happened, it was not good. It was a whole mess. But we did good. And then we had PT inside with one of our MTIs just to keep ourselves warm and occupied and all that stuff. It was actually, I think she might have put on music during that one, but I'm not sure. But it was nice. And then that night we got a 12-minute phone call. So then the 12th we had our second sexual assault class. That was 4 hours long. We had our first official day of the new hair regulations, which you can look up. It's AFI 36-2903. Goes through all the different regulations for dress and appearance, which includes female hair standards. We can now wear them in braids and in ponytails, that kind of stuff. So if you're interested, you can look that up. I don't think I'm going to do a video on that just because my hair's really thin and I just usually put it up in a bun or a braid, and that is very specific and I don't want to give out any incorrect information. So perhaps in the future, once I get better at that stuff and I know more women who know different hairstyles, I might do one of those, but for the time being, I'm not counting on it. So the 13th, our meeting got canceled for graduation practice. We handed out all of our stripes and ribbons for our blues, and we went to the mini mall, and then all the instructors, MTIs, everyone that was like staff had to leave by 5 o'clock, 1700. because of the impending snowstorm. So then we also that night we ordered our squadron merch, and we had our water main burst. So we were out of water starting on the 13th. The 14th began week 5 of training. Now, typically in week 5 of training, you're supposed to do all of your like finals. So you have to do your weapons assembly, disassembly, you have to do your final inspection, you have to do your PT test. It's like all of the final stuff that you need to pass in order to graduate. But there was a snowstorm. So we didn't sleep well. We had 2 girls had to go to KP duty, which if you don't know is kitchen something, I think. I don't know what it stands for actually. It might be kitchen patrol. That doesn't sound right. But basically they help in the DFAC, in the kitchen. The elevators stopped working, which sucked because I was on crutches. So I wasn't supposed to be using the stairs, so it would mess up my knee more, and I was supposed to be letting it heal. But then the elevators didn't work the entire week, which sucked. We had our normal Sunday stuff. I don't remember any of this, and I haven't gone through and highlighted anything. Like, I should have done this before. Oof. On that Sunday, there was one girl on our flight who did meditation, and she did all these different martial arts, and therapist maybe? She did a bunch of different stuff. But she did a meditation session with us, which was really nice. We had all the lights off, and we just chilled, and it was really nice de-stressor. On Monday, one of our MTIs was in charge of CQ, which was really nice because I had to go down to CQ because I needed to fill out some paperwork to make sure that they knew that my daughter existed. So I was like, still hadn't been getting paid what I was supposed to be getting paid in this whole thing. So I got to do that. We weren't allowed to march or be at attention downstairs because of the snow and how slick it was. There was a few inches of snow. Breakfast was crap. And then they had us run a Sunday schedule on that Monday. The generators were on because the power went out, but then the generators kept busting. It was a whole thing. Again, the elevators didn't work, and they were running out of food. And because it was so cold, first of all, the power was out, but then also water lines kept breaking. So, like, the DFAC was flooding, and it was this whole mess. So they were like, okay, can't get you food right now. If you guys are hungry because breakfast, there was barely any food, you guys could come down and get bananas and protein bars. As soon as we get down there, it was all gone. It was like this whole just free-for-all, and it was just a mess. So for dinner, we had MREs, and our emergency lights went out. We handed out wool blankets. So you have 2 different kinds of blankets in BMT. You have your wool blankets, and then you have your normal, like, cotton blankets. And so I believe you have your cotton blankets most of the time, and then in 6th week, you switch it over to your wool blankets, so that way they can clean the new blankets for the new flight coming in after you. So we handed out all the blankets in the dorm because it was freezing. The lights kept continuing to flicker as the generators burst. There was no running water in the squadron or the DFAC. So we just did as much as we could. Our PT test was delayed until that Saturday. We had an MTI come in and yell at us because there were fights going on. Not like fights, but like arguments going on between the flight with like 2 different like groups of people, and it's just, it sucks because you're trapped with all these people and you don't have anywhere else to go, and there's just so much drama, especially when we're not doing anything. We're just sitting in the dorms all day. So people are just like bored, and it's just a mess. So we had someone come in and tell us to like just get our crap together, and then we had a flight meeting, just lots of fun. We were able to take showers that Wednesday because they were able to get the water back on for long enough but they weren't sure how long it was going to stay on because they were doing rotations of power. So our power might have gone, I think our power was supposed to go back out again. So they told us to take a shower while we could. So we got 40 minutes just to shower, which was awesome. And no new trainees were brought in that Tuesday because of the bad weather. So there wasn't anyone there. We had one of our master sergeants walk through and do an inspection. We got a 10-minute phone call that night, which was very nice. And I did get to talk with Naomi that time, which I don't think I had been able to previously because that phone call was in the middle of the day instead of like at night, you know. Then that Thursday, we just did a lot of watching videos that were supposed to prep us for Beast. It was still storming. We had the temperature in our bay at that point was 60.4 degrees, which was an improvement because a few nights prior, I believe, it was like, we had a snowball fight that Thursday in the entire squadron. I did not take part because I was on crutches and I didn't want to go down the stairs just to be yelled at to go back upstairs later. But we were allowed to go down and do it. They wanted us to get out and clean up some of the snow and that kind of stuff. And they were like, just go outside and play in the snow for 15 minutes. So everyone did that. I stayed up with a few other people. And then one of my friends in BMT cut her hair super short because they wouldn't let her go to the haircutting place and it was out of regulation. And so she decided just to take it upon herself and cut it. And she got roasted and got a 341 pulled because of it. Because it's not safe to cut your own hair or something like that. So it was a whole thing. We had a guy come in on that Friday to fix our heat. So it got to 58 degrees overnight. When the guy came to fix the heat, I guess. Apparently one of the bands that you need to run for the heat snapped. I don't know how, but that's why our air was out and no one else's was. At that point in time. We were able to do one of our drill PCs. That's what they're called. Our PCs. That's what happens in week 5. Your progress checks. So we had some come around and do our drill progress check. And then we practiced our weapons and we were told that we would not be having a beast. Our MTIs finally were able to come in that Saturday at 8 a.m. We were in PT gear all day. And that was the day that we switched over from the cotton blankets to the wool blankets. We had to turn the cotton back in. Which the wool blankets are easier to make the beds with, but the cotton ones are nice. Like, they feel a lot better. We finally got our peanut butter and jellies back on that Saturday. There was like barely any food that entire week, and they only had one flight helping in the kitchen because they couldn't bring any of the people in to do any of the cooking. So it was just a whole mess, and there was not a lot of food, and what there was, it was like very small selection. So the people who were supposed to graduate that Thursday of this week still graduated, and they left on Saturday, I believe. And it's funny because once I got to my tech school, I actually got to meet some people who were there during that time. And the one was the drill master before me. So it was, I don't know, cool to get a different perspective, you know. One of our NTIs got back and she played music for us. And then our other two were in after PT. We did have PT that day. We did have grad practice. So that Saturday, I also got cleared off of my crutches and I was cleared to do the PT test. We did our prep for our Rla inspection. I made up the drill PC because I wasn't allowed to march because I was on crutches. We did our weapons PC. and we did our reporting procedures. They were just trying to knock out as much as they could. But then we also picked out our t-shirt design for our squadron merch. I got my guidon bear position back, again, because I couldn't march for the last 2 weeks or whatever. I could not be the guidon. But I got that back, so I was able to go to practice. So a lot happened that week, but then also not a lot happened that week. I apologize if this video was bad. So then we just have week 6, and week 7 is super short. I don't even think I didn't even write anything for week 7. So that's just gonna be me talking to you guys about that. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye guys.